Hi, y'all. This is Chandler George, Dr. George. This is a third video in the series. And on this video, we want to get deeper dives into some content. So what we want to cover on this video is three different points and keys to what I believe are some options that you can do in your clinic. And these aren't the only options. We certainly are going to have more in later videos. But number one is set up telemedicine or telehealth, depending on your license, right? And how you can practice. Number two is educate your patients and potential patients, if you have a list of any type, with videos, right? Private Facebook pages, YouTube pages, your email marketing system, your contact relationship management system, your CRM that you may have already built into your system, like ChiroTouch or something like that, or Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign or something like that. And then number three, your Facebook business page, right? So that you can build out groups, so you can have a business page. Now, a lot of you have that with your internet marketing package. You probably have with your website or something, but are you truly active on it and taking advantage of all that it can do? So the first one I wanted to cover a little more in depth today is actually telehealth or telemedicine. Now, I know right now you're looking at me, and my goal, and I'm actually using ScreenFlow or Screencast, if you will, not Zoom, for the video, is to show you, if it'll show my screen, which I'm not sure it will, but to show you exactly what I want you to be able to do. Now, I am not sure that you can see my screen, but I'm going to act as if you can. I may have to come back and make sure you can see my screen, but I'm hopefully you can see my screen. Okay, the first one would be three different platforms that you could possibly use for telehealth or telemedicine. One would be doxy.me, doxy.me. I don't have any affiliation with any of these, don't get paid or anything like that, but it's a great affordable solution. It's one I started playing around with about 4 or 5 years ago, which has a free version, but really probably for most of you, you're going to want the professional version, which is about $35 a month, according to the latest update that I'm seeing right here. If you have a huge clinic, a multidisciplinary type clinic or something with multiple providers, then it could be as high as $50 a month. But it's a great option. It's real popular. And when I was researching and teaching this a few years ago, out of the 26 major ones in terms of telehealth or telemedicine, it was certainly the one I was going to use. And it's become definitely that leader ever since. Now, another great one, if you're able to see it here, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it either, is Zoom. Zoom. Now, everyone's heard a lot about Zoom lately, right, because of everything going on. But did you know they had a healthcare division? They have a healthcare division, and it seems to be a little bit possibly more affordable. Or I'm sorry, maybe a little bit more expensive possibly, depending on what you're trying to do. But the deal is, it has become kind of like GoToWebinar was a number of years ago. It has become the go-to de facto that everyone, if they know anything about anything online, with video conferencing, it's all about Zoom. So it might make it easier for your patients to actually get on there when you're using a Zoom technology and a Zoom platform. For that reason, I'd probably choose Zoom. I prefer doxy.me, but I really don't want to confuse them. I don't know about you, but every time I go to a pay system somewhere in some store, it's a different way to use my chip in the card, whether I'm swiping it, poking it in, and it's asking different questions. There isn't one system that's the same, and it's very annoying, you might say. Well, but I deal with it. But what if you're an older patient? I mean, and they got 26 different ways to deal with a doctor. The person who will deal with what they're already familiar with is more likely to have the patients happier to do telemedicine. If you say something like, hey, I use blah, 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 and they go, what the heck is that? Don't even know. They'll freak out and just shut down and don't even bother. So use something they know. I think for that reason, Zoom. Number two, Doxy. But another great one is actually G Suite. Yeah, but Google G Suite. G Suite, which I don't have a screenshot of. And of course, if you can't see the screenshot of these, all you have to do is Google Zoom and you'll see the different options, healthcare, school teachers and school and all this. And the same thing with the first one, Doxy. Just put in DOXY. Telehealth, and you'll see all kinds of stuff for telemedicine. Now, G Suite's inexpensive, and G Suite is also, like the other two, HIPAA compliant, and you can totally do it that way. And I know plenty of practitioners, in fact, that travel the world because they're able to Thailand and all kinds of places for a month or two at a time, and they do their consults strictly with G Suite. So there's 3 different ways right there on 3 different platforms. Now, how about pay systems? Well, let's give you some options. You got to get paid. Obviously, I'm a big believer in cash. Get paid cash. But they're not in front of you to give you cash. So how are you going to get cash? Stripe. Stripe is probably the number one option if you haven't been online before or have nothing online. While they charge a 1.75% or even a 2%, which is kind of high, they see online stuff as risky, typically. Risky. Now, they might not see it so risky with doctors and things like that, but they typically see it as risky. So you have to think about that. But they do like online, and so many of those merchant companies don't like online because they hate the idea of fraud, or that they might have to pay out money they have to go back and chase. So Stripe, which is another question you'd ask of all these companies you might use, because you might use your merchant account that you have now, but you better call. You better call and see if the local town bank or whoever your merchant account with will actually support you on a online platform. Some will, some won't. And then you want to ask, how long are you going to hold my money? So, I do $10,000 today. You're going to make me wait a month, a week, or 24 hours to actually get my money in my bank. They're all different because they're covering mitigation, lawsuit, and fraud. Okay? And online's higher for all that stuff. Now, the other one that you might want to look at in terms of your traditional merchant account, but you want to ask them all those questions. I know with Stripe, they're going to make you wait a week. But the third thing you want to ask is, how much money can I generate? So like, in other words, if you do an event or a virtual summit in your healthcare, or you have an exceptionally big day or time over the weekend with new patients or something, or a bigger clinic, then they're not going to let you go over $25,000 to $50,000 before they just freeze you. Yeah, freeze you, meaning it might be 3 weeks to a month before you get your money. In other words, that's their limit. That's as far as they're going. So this is why I know, for this reason, we carry several merchant accounts. And the reason why is because one may freeze you. And by the time you get your money out and know what the lock is, your business is in trouble. So by having 2 or 3 different ones, then you might have one that is at 50, another one's at 25, another one's at 150. So you might also weigh that in, which one's going to give you a higher ceiling before they freeze out your money. I know it sounds really weird. You go, well, I did the work. Why would they freeze giving me my money? Because again, the danger of fraud, anytime this certainly happens with people doing seminars and events and trainings, which more doctors are doing, virtual summits you've probably heard of. There's more doctors doing that, 50 of them at a time gathering together, and they may generate $500,000. It's $500,000. Well, there's a lock a lot of times on their money if they don't have different merchant accounts to protect them, and they have to get prior advances. So I want you to know that, because I know that some of you actually participate in those, and it's something to think about. And you need to know this ahead of time, otherwise you're paying somebody else up to $90,000 that I have been told to have it done for you. I don't know about you, but that's a huge risk in this day and age. It scares me a little bit. So I just want to be sure you understand the telehealth. The last one of the 3 things is actually educate. Your patients aren't going to be real comfortable yet with telemedicine. I mean, they're comfortable doing it and they feel safer and they're grateful you're doing it for them, but you need to educate them. So that's going to be videos. You're going to do videos and educate your patient base with videos and actually train them, like you would your staff, on how it works. You're going to walk them through it. You're going to do a screen share, which hopefully they can see. And usually ScreenFlow is great for that if you got a Mac or Camtasia if you're using a PC, so that you can record whatever's on your screen. I had this actually set for me, so it's probably looking directly at me. It can record it so that you can be sure they know how to do it. Like you would teach a virtual assistant in the Philippines or something. And they go, oh, and and the video's 5 minutes or less. But you might send out multiple videos. So you want to train them to be sure they understand how to use your services online. Because once again, if they feel the least bit anxiety and not comfortable doing it, I know my own mother is this way, then they're not going to do it. And you're wondering, why isn't this working? It must not work. Guess what? It works. But this is a new age. You're going to have to help them with it. Just kind of like we all had to help everybody with the internet in the late 90s, right? It's like well, especially in the early 90s. But in the late 90s, when everyone had to get on, you still had to help some people. So you're going to have to help them. Plan it in advance, put it into our CRM system, get it out to your patient base. You say, I don't have a list? Well, then the first thing is get a list of your patients. Gather up all the files, whatever, get to your software, your database, however you do billing, assuming you take insurance, and find out, or your ledger or whatever, if it's just cash. Get a list, be sure they're in there so that you can let them know what's going on and market to them. So those are kind of my 3 basic tips today on telehealth / telemedicine, depending upon your license and what you're doing with it. Now, we'll go deeper into that on another video because I realize that's just a broad general overview and you may have many more questions. But I want you to know that is an option right off the bat. And then let you know the next video coming up will be actually how do we do some of these videos and how do we do this Facebook and YouTube and different places online, and where would we put it for our patients? I'll let you know that in the next video. Hey, it's Dr. George, Catch Fire Coaching. Got any questions? Hit one of the links somewhere. I know one of them hasn't been working lately, and that's the schedule link, because a few of you have reached out to me on that. So you might want to go to the Facebook business page and direct message me, or I'm pretty sure I've got my cell phone on there, or an 800 number, and you can reach me there. I'm pretty sure it's my cell phone number, which is 817-939-8435. And just call and leave a message, and we can set up a time to chat. What we want to do is have basically a 3-month program during the crisis, which we don't know how long that'll go on, reality in terms of our economy, to help you get back on your track and get going. Because what we all need now is not the Ferrari or the big house on the hill or the big numbers. We need a life raft. Our patients need a life raft. We need security, we need stability, and we need to make smart moves as this thing keeps turning around, and we need to pivot in the right direction. And I'm here to give that for you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.